Hi, everyone. Welcome to the MOV Leaders podcast, a podcast where we celebrate women leaders. It is our tradition to call out a women trailblazer, but in this kind of difficult pandemic situation, it is a must for us to acknowledge and welcome the great participation and contribution from the frontline workers. Today, I'm going to recall about Neeta Patil. She is the Senior Director and Head of Vaccine Development in Novavax, a American-based vaccination company. Your all female team. It comprises of complete female member team. She is heading, and they have found three vaccines, possible vaccines to fight against the novel coronavirus, and the three vaccines have reached to the final analysis stage also. It's a commendable contribution. Great job, ladies. And we look forward for the passing out of the vaccine in a successful manner, and we all are hoping for the best. Thank you once again for your brave contribution. Now, coming back to the episode. Today, I'm going to introduce you all to a very special guest. She is a senior tech leader in the industry. We have spoken multiple times. It is not easy for women to reach out to the top leader, especially in the STEM field. But Snigdha made it possible. Snigdha is the senior director in PayPal. It's my pleasure to welcome Snigdha to the show. Without any further delay, let's add Snigdha to the show. Hi,
Hi,
Snigdha.
Scindia.
Welcome. I'm so happy you're here. How are you feeling to be part of Leaders?
Oh, this is awesome. And thank you for inviting me to the show.
Pleasure.
You guys are doing an amazing job. While I was thinking through this platform, I realized that platforms like this really make a difference because you all are bringing role models and people who have struggled and learned to each and every woman who are either looking at entering the STEM stream or definitely going through challenges for them to draw parallels and analogies and succeed in their own careers. So thank you, Scindia, and thank you, LeadHERs. This is an amazing job. Please continue doing that.
Thank you, Snigdha. Thank you so much. For the benefit of audience, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us briefly about your background and journey?
Sure, I will happily do that. So the way I look at myself is a perennial learner, somebody who's constantly looking at the day-to-day small incidents in life to learn from, because I believe that each and every instance in our life gives us a learning opportunity, and we can only enrich ourselves by taking advantage of it. So I'm somebody who's born and raised in Mumbai. As you know, it's a typical cosmopolitan city, the financial capital of India. I come from a salaried, middle class, but very progressive family and school setup. Somebody who, through her experiences, has learned that we need to continuously evolve our beliefs and mindsets. We need to be very diverse. So, a little bit about my background or childhood. My sister and I lost a really exemplary role model dad at a very young age. Our mother, who was an extremely strong, trusting, and compassionate lady, brought us up, and she ensured that she executed my dad's desire to have both his kids into science streams. So both of us landed up in engineering fields. Currently, my life is blessed with three kids, two Homo sapiens and one pup. Extremely mischievous and loving that keep me very alive and alert through the day. Coming to my professional journey, it's been a very rich experience. Whether it has been different cities or different nationalities that I've interacted with at leadership level, or just different functions within a product development life cycle, or a mix of domestic and MNC firms, I think I've been very fortunate to have it all. And this has definitely helped me learn and adapt to what's required to succeed or fail as the circumstance was in this career track. Today, I am leading the subscriptions and vaulted payments product lines for PayPal, which is a nearly $2 billion portfolio. Prior to this, I was heading AT's Global Product and Technology division out of India. That's Hyderabad and Pune offices.
Great, Snigdha. Amazing journey. I could see you have gone across various capacities, and you are learning. Now I could relate, like how you told that I'm a constant learner. Of course, with such a rich experience, I couldn't ask for more. So Snigdha, now everybody knows a bit about your personal and professional background. I wanted to just zoom in on a specific fact, like how your beginning formative years. I understood that your father desire and your mother execution on putting you into the engineering stream, but I'm just curious to know how your formative years helped you in reaching out to a tech leader position now.
Sure. That's an excellent question, Scindia. So let me just go back to my childhood. Right, in grade 8, we were offered technical streams. So we had the option of picking up electrical or mechanical engineering streams or the home science streams. And the
Okay.
way it worked, they offered the technical streams to the top one third of the grade population. You
Mhm.
will be surprised that we were less than 10%, I would probably say 7% of the class in the technical streams. It's
Mhm.
not that girls did not qualify, right? Because as you know, girls are very sincere, very responsible, very hardworking. So they have been performers. Two things came out clearly at that period. One, there were parents who wanted their girl child to be part of the home science streams and not technical streams. And strangely, there were girls who thought engineering was quite unfeminine. And this is in a city like Mumbai, where you do see a lot of progressive mindset. Um, Go forward 2 years. This is my 11th and 12th grade. Again, we had electronics stream, we had a mechanical stream, and we had a bio stream, right? There too, I saw women shift towards a bio stream versus electronics or mechanical stream, right? So you will see that this is more of a mindset that probably got formed in early years, and we can talk about it a little later. Why we see that play out in choice of career streams. Now, coming back to the present scenario, right? I really see out of those women who finally took engineering streams, a lot of them have been able to balance it out, right? They have either settled, okay, I'm happy being at the mid level or individual contributor level, or many of them have gone to senior levels and balanced out the personal and professional streams. But unfortunately, several of them, I have seen them dropping out of the workforce. And that really pains me, right? And so there are times when I go back and reflect what have probably been the key turning points in my life that have enabled me to stay on through lows and highs, through all the challenges, and through all the dimensions that a typical working woman has to go through. First thing that I would point out is a very inclusive environment where curiosity is developed, is encouraged, and a very inclusive environment is created at the school level itself, right? Now, I was a very outspoken kid, just like you, Satya. And even in school, I didn't really care if I was talking to my teachers or the principal, right? I just brought up points that were very, very important for me. And I remember one of the physics professors, and this was a grade 12 professor, and we know how important grade 12 is. He started bullying me that I was not very structured. I was somebody who was outspoken. So obviously, people cannot take it very well. And he started bullying me, cornering me. The smallest thing that would go wrong, he would call me out in the class. And what I actually did is once at the corridor in front of my friends, I actually confronted him. I said, "You felt I didn't come to the class test yesterday because I wasn't prepared. But hey, this is my medical certificate. I do have a eye problem and I couldn't open my eyes, right?" I would say that the school provided a very bold environment where I could speak up, knowing that it wouldn't impact my 12th grades, right? And I think incidents like this work on your subconscious mind. and really help you develop that or nurture those attributes in yourself, right? Of course, one very funny incident I would like to share. I know when I was dating my boyfriend, then boyfriend, now husband, one of the days he came back and told me that my mother said she has heard from her friends you're very outspoken. So I think you have to realize that there will be such funny, tags or labels attached to you in the, in different circumstances. But again, I think my husband stood by me. He wanted a woman who would actually be outspoken. So it works really both in your personal and professional dimensions of life. The second point that I would really like to say that enabled it was in my school, there was equal focus given to academics as much as sports, as much as a lot of literary activities, as much as arts, right? And sports to me, I was an athlete. And sports and athletics really taught me how to manage the lows, the humiliations, right? You sometimes made it to the school final team, made it to the district level meet, and sometimes you failed to make it to the state level meet, but then you learn to take it as part of your life. I had a lot of friends who were great in art, great in literary activities, and that also inculcated that desire to be at least good enough or at least try it out, right? So I think that is the second aspect. Today, I think this is much more easier because schools do provide this kind of environment. What also helps in this kind of environment is you're forced to learn with teams, build that one team spirit, and do a lot of networking, right? Usually, after a successful sports meet, you would actually hang around, boys, girls together, share the samosa, share the snacks, retrospect. And these have really helped out in later your professional journey because this is where you want to have that comfort to share, interact, and all of those. The third thing I would pretty much say, I would actually attribute a lot of it to my home environment. I think an environment where I wasn't preconditioned to a stereotype woman expectation was definitely at home. As we know, in a typical Hindu family, there are a lot of festivals, a lot of religious customs, and I was somebody, unless I was convinced, I wouldn't do it. Right. And I know a lot of my friends were asked to shut up by their mom. They were told, shut up and follow it. I have been told by my parents, and I'm just passing it on to you. I think I give a lot of credit to my mom who let me, question it, ask for a scientific basis. And if I was not convinced, she let me discover and realize things on the way and adopt or not adopt based on whether I felt like. Similarly, I remember when I was even a young 4 to 5 year old kid, my dad and my sister, they would come to me with problems that were definitely above my age level. Right? Usually family, friends, perceptions, societal norms, or my sister would even discuss her school friend issues. And much that I didn't understand it, I think I realized that my opinion is respected and environments always need to be inclusive. So I think when I talk about conditioning, or Scindia, just before the session, we were talking about it. It is so absolutely important to nurture these characteristics or build these characteristics in the girl child.
Absolutely, I agree, Snigdha. In fact, one incident I could relate is I was also bullied so much in my school times. In fact, especially by female teachers in my case. And whatever we do, whenever I behaved as an outspoken person, they used to tell like, how will you get married and go and live in a place? How they will be able to tolerate it. That in 10th, 11th, 12th, I never even was thinking about marriage and this thing. I'll be wondering. And one day I told my mother. So they've been keep on saying this. She came to school and she called the teacher, and the same thing. She didn't bother. She called her and said, if you are living in a family, my daughter also will live in a family. You don't worry. And
Exactly.
what is your job is to teach the subject. If she is not doing well there, also I don't care, and she will do what she's intended to do until she is not behaving ethically wrong or morally wrong. You have no rights to question me. That gave me a lot of confidence because she
Actually,
I
it's
was
awesome.
Actually, I was so scared because I was thinking that this will impact my internal marks. Later, she may, no, do something to my practicals. All that I was so scared. But my mother was saying, "Okay, let her do, but you have to stand up, right? You have to stand up. If she does that, we will go and fight it out in a different way. But do not suppress yourself, and do not think that what will happen if I stand up for myself. Please understand, you have to stand up for yourself. Otherwise, nobody will come and save you. So that changed my dimension altogether. After that, wherever I go, if I feel it is wrong for me or for others, I used to stand up. Yes, it had
That's
its own
awesome.
impact, it is having its own impact, but end of the day, if I'm seeing in the long run, it emerged me as a good leader. And tomorrow, I'm still learning, but I'm able to inspire people, and tell my stories, and make people like you to come and share the stories. So it is very important to imbibe the characteristics. It's not necessarily somebody who is an introvert, you need not force them to be extrovert, and somebody is extrovert and social, you need not judge them also. So conditioning plays
Exactly.
a very, very major role. I completely agree, Snigdha. And one more pattern I'm seeing is all the guests who have come has actually given credits to their mom. So to this generation also, who are moms there, my only submission is, if you think no, you can actually create great leaders, and you are the inspiration. If you stand by your daughter, or your son, or whoever it is, they will get a lot of confidence when you believe them, trust them, and allow them to make their own mistakes, learn, and come up in life. Definitely, you will be very proud of them one day. So that is what I have
Right.
seen.
I think you
10.
brought up a good point, Scindia, an excellent point. I mean, one is the pattern, of course, very
Yeah,
valid. But what you bring up is it is not just important for your daughter to learn, it is also important for your son, because your
yes,
son will be an ally to his
correct.
colleagues at work. He is going to bring up his kids and he
Correct.
will respect the contributions of his wife and stand by her. So, excellent point.
Yeah, that's very much as like that. So we are talking about the beginning formative areas, right? So even if certain people pass through that phase and get themselves enrolled in STEM function, from there also I have quoted a couple of statistics in my previous episodes also. There was a stat. If women is getting qualified in STEM degree, out of 100, only 35% are getting recruited in firms, but compared to over 58% of recruitment in men STEM workforce. So similarly, that is one hurdle, right? That is one thing to be did for hiring mindset. We have spoken in earlier the podcast series also. And the next level, even if you get hired, there is a stat that over close to 65% of people, especially women, drop from tech field within 10 years and change their fields, and they don't continue and reach to the leadership level. So that this is a parity trend which is going on. um, how do you see this? Because one these things earlier, I'm sure that 2 decades before, even business or consider medicine, that those were also being considered as a male field. But things have changed now. A lot of people are now, you can see more women workforce in finance, marketing, management, medicine, many fields, but still STEM is in work in progress. So what is your take on this disparity, Snigdha?
That's a very, very relevant question, Cynthia, and I can share my views. I'm sure there are a lot of views out there. So, one thing we have to recognize is a lot of the improvements or innovations that have impacted our life positively have been led by technology advancements, right? And you can attribute it to a huge computing power, large data, cheap data storage, a lot of IoT capturing data, it's accessible to all the firms, right? And then you look at the customer service technologies tools. I think as a consumer today, we have everything for us, right? Everything designed for us, for our engagement. Now, this has been possible only by a very, very rapid pace of technology advancement.
Mhm.
Now, when there is a very rapid technology advancement that is causing business disruptions, newer business models, it really means that somebody in this field has to be very, very up to date and be an expert, right? Because if technologies are changing, you have to keep upgrading yourself. Second thing, if you look at it, is no innovation is happening in a silo. It's not that I can sit in a corner or I can get into a shower and think of a beautiful idea that works, globally relevant, can scale, can perform, and can excite the user. Today, most innovations that are riding this hyper growth scenario or the trend is happening because you are keeping connected with either your users or your marketing department, or different development organizations, regional organizations, or you are building connects with industry, with market, right, or with industry bodies across the world, right? So now, being connected, being able to network, being able to brainstorm and co-create has become a necessity to succeed, right? So now, if you look at it, talk about a woman, right? Leave the junior, set of folks aside. Let's talk about the mid-level and senior level. Now, mid-level is when you will see most women in India getting married, trying to adjust with a new family, new ecosystem, struggling with societal norms, trying to find their identity in this new world. And then they graduate to the child nurturing, birth and child nurturing phases, right? So this is where also in the mid stage that woman's attention span and time is required a lot at home, right? She's
Correct.
going through a lot of changes. So now you think about it, this is not easy, right? Because what comes with it is a need for a huge investment for not only building your expertise but also working at several odd hours. So to me, this is one or two key aspects why women sometimes are not able to take that pressure, are not able to operate in a highly competitive field, are not able to go to these boy clubs, relaxed environments for a drink after office and chill and brainstorm in a relaxed environment, right? Because what's running on their mind is, oh, my child's homework is pending, there is an exam tomorrow, oh, I was supposed to prepare dinner, and so on and so forth. So like, there's a lot of time sharing out there. Coming back to what we talked about a little earlier, right? Unfortunately, I think along with it, what is happening is we are teaching our girl children. We believe they're faint hearted. We believe that they need to be protected. So we're trying to create a safe and secure environment, right? We are trying to ensure that a girl child are these delicate darlings, whom we bring up. Now, what happens when these delicate darlings come to work? They think bold is bad because you've been taught to be nice. They think that if you're being aggressive, that's not good because you're the nurturer. You should let enable others to succeed, but you need to sacrifice, right? And then the other caregivers, right? So our primary responsibility is at home. We look at what is required at work: speed of execution, bold decision making, risk taking, navigating through uncertainty, and being go getters or being perceived as go getters at par with your male colleagues. So now, when you've grown girls with a different mindset, it creates an additional dimension of complexity in their mind, because now a lot of things around them have changed and their subconscious mind has gotten into patterns that are not conducive to the work environment. So I think these are probably three things that are inhibiting or making it easier for women to decide to jump out of the workforce and not take all of this pressure.
Amazing pointers, like the amazing pointers. So this is tempting me to ask a question. How did you navigated all these things and doing great as a tech leader? So that of course those will inspire many of us also to navigate and reach to that position, Snigdha.
Sure. I am sure all of us have very similar stories or different stories, India, but happy to share, what I have learned. I think one, again, during childhood, I was in awe of Indira Gandhi. She used to come so nicely, neatly dressed and speak to such a large forum, and it was broadcasted on television, right? So in my early days, I remember I wanted to be the Prime Minister of India because I was so inspired by her. Not that I understood her financial policies or what she was talking. I was not in a position to judge her, right? But just being there and exuding that confidence and in such a powerful position and being able to impact so many lives, I think is an example that each one of us have, right? I think we look forward to role models. We look forward to deriving inspirations from others. And that is one thing that I've always had people to look up to, right? Because there are just so many role models out there. And this is where, again, I would say platforms like LeadHERs, right? Uh, bring the role models. And again, remember, Indira Gandhi is there, or Sheryl Sandberg is out there, right? We can draw inspiration, but we do not get to interact, see them, understand the day-to-day challenges that hit us more often than those, one of those instances when they've gone and spoken at a boardroom. So I think platforms like yours need to bring it so close to people that women or girls in the workforce can associate with it, right? Can realize, oh, this is such an easy way. Why didn't I even think about it, right? Rather than sit and wonder. So I think that has helped me finding a lot of role models and drawing inspiration for them. The second thing that I have focused on, Scindia, is pretty much, looking at both my workplace and my home on very similar lines. So I have always ensured that at home, I do have tremendous amount of scenario planning. What if this could go wrong, that could go wrong? And I have a lot of backups, therefore, right? A lot of layer backups, always, parents at home, and then there are, two levels of, or two tiers of help in terms of cook, nanny, maids, all of it, right? Because when I go to work, I want to focus on work. My work needs me to do a business travel. I want to do the business travel knowing fully well my kids are being taken care of, and what I would have done is being done with all sincerity, right? And similarly, when I have been at work, I have always focused on building a very strong one team culture, a very strong feeling of oneness, right? Collective outcomes and collective failures. How that has helped me is, when I stepped out mid of my career to do my executive MBA, literally I had to be 1 week out of every 6 weeks or 8 weeks, right? And then I had they were all in class programs. My next level, without even me asking for it, they just filled in that gap seamlessly, and my presence was absolutely not missed. So I think that definitely helped. How things did work out better for me when I needed people around me. The third thing that I did, Cynthia, was I was very, very selective, especially during mid-level to senior level transition, to choose my mentors and coaches, right? So if there was one mentor who was a Chinese boss I admired, I learned from him very, very bold decision making, taking risks, speed of execution. And he was this fan of military style of leadership. I learned the positives from him. Similarly, I had another mentor who had selected at the same level, at the same SVP level, who was this typical flamboyant, classy leader who could go to any exec, forum or the boardroom and tell beautiful stories and was very creative, right? So, and he was an American. He is an American, right? So there is this Chinese flavor, American flavor, military style leadership, a very flamboyant style of speaking, very rigorous execution, somebody who was very creative. I think there's several such mentors that is, picked and figured out what I would learn from them, and they have been very kind, right? So that is something I would really recommend women to do, because that is the only way that you can learn from other people, right? I mean, there are a lot of books, but I think watching and observing people operate in front of you is a better way of learning. And finally, something that I learned the very hard way, I overvalued expertise, overvalued experience, and I'm sure your smile speaks a lot. So whenever roles came up to me, right, somebody tapped my shoulder and said, "This is a perfect role for you. Go for it. We're all there behind you." And I have extremely senior people telling me, "Go for it. You are deserving. You can do it." I didn't have the confidence. Oh my God, to go from a 300 member org to, let's say, a 1500 member org leadership, they are completely different challenges. I used to get overwhelmed, scared. So, on one hand, my husband used to tell me, like, I don't know what's wrong with you, right? I mean, you're being offered it on a platter and you're not taking it. And in those times, my learnings were my male colleagues who were probably lesser qualified for the job just raised their hand, the job, and moved on, right? So I think it's great to have experts, expertise, and experience. I think we are very sincere. We believe in perfectionism, but it's also important that we need to go out and have confidence. We can learn the job we can learn the skills on the job. So I think these are probably four areas that I would recommend, women to also, add into it if they're not already doing it.
Super Snigdha, one analogy I can relate to it is I'm a marketer. So in digital marketing, it is always like you will learn basis on the campaign performance on the go. You should start. It is not like if you wait for a perfect plan, perfect platform, and perfect timing, it will never come. The same in life also, right? And also many guests have also shared how women in a room actually there was a comparison when it was been a question asked that if this you are 70% qualified for the job, will you go
Hmm,
and apply for it? None of the women raised their hands, but the same question has been asked in the room of guys. 90% raised their hands. So it's
exactly.
normal, right? And even you would have seen funny stories that people will be male, friends that will be so happy that if they are passing, and they will be like, "I passed," and we will be sitting and crying that 97. I don't know where I my 3 marks, right? So still, unfortunately,
Absolutely.
that's a funny thing. But in reality, we are being too hard on ourselves. So that has to be changed.
Absolutely.
We are judging ourselves that no, that is not my cup of tea. Sorry, I don't think I can do. So I don't think nothing is like that. Everything we can learn, and we will only get better. And sometimes we get spoiled by seeing movies also, because in movies your hero or your lead role will be always portrayed in a way that it's all inborn skills, just like that in back of the hand, that if it's a cricketer, that he'll be always hitting six, and he will know it in his blood. If he hits his it may not be like that, right? You have to practice and you have to imbibe that skills most of the times. So
Actually, slightly digressing from the topic, but I remember something that took me by surprise. It was about Hrithik Roshan, right? We all grew, at least I can speak for myself, I grew on a lot of fantasies, right?
correct.
Fantasy stories. And I remember when his kids were probably around that 3, 4 years of age, he actually went on media and said, I do not give fantasy stories, storybooks to my kids to read. He said they need to learn young enough. Life is
Correct.
not going to be a bed of roses, and they
Correct.
have to learn that life is going to be lows and highs, and they better get equipped from now. And
Correct.
this is like exactly what you said about the movies, right? I think
Yeah.
we get subconsciously conditioned to thinking life is going to be smooth. So,
Yeah.
awesome point.
And also the series is another extreme. So being a female, they have to sacrifice everything. They're living only for the other's happiness, then only they will be called as great mother, great wife, or a great daughter-in-law. Not reality, according to me. So I don't watch those
Exactly.
series. If anybody watches, I'll discourage them, because I'll say, hey, what? And I was just in a neighborhood, this thing again, it's slightly digressing, but just to want to quote this example. And my neighbor was watching a series. In that Christmas, this girl wanted to be an IPS officer, but got married to a guy who was not literate or anything, and something is going on, I don't understand. But I saw one scene that she was so scared to talk to her mother-in-law or something. She was so scared. I was saying, like, she wanted to be an IPS officer. I don't I don't have any correlation. I was saying, what rubbish. So sometimes,
Exactly.
I think unwanted conditioning, unwanted stereotyping, I think only family members can break that and support the kid, because Ritik Roshan example also said the same. So Snigdha, in your overall learning, I could sum it up in one way only. You have to be a continuous learner, and you should never ever think that I have wasted some years, or I could have not done that, I could have done this, maybe I wasted. No, nothing is waste, because for me, I'm a
Absolutely.
biology student. I did engineering IT, I did marketing MBA, and I'm now heading partner marketing, partner marketing Freshworks. None of this, I would say, that not relevant to what I'm doing, because everything has taught me something or the other. So
And also,
every
sure, in your childhood, this may not have been your career plan if you were asked at 10
no,
years or 12 years of
I wanted to
age.
be an
But
IAS
you've
officer.
evolved.
Yeah. So
Exactly.
it happens. So it's not like a perfect plan. Again, movie, like, from the young, they will have a dream and they will chase for it. We will evolve. We are evolving. I'll also evolve. Maybe after
Exactly.
10 years, I may do something different. So just start. That is where we
Exactly. It's a
will.
fantastic point.
Yeah. So, Snigdha, so to all the women watching out there, what is your advice for them in their formative years of in tech roles? Maybe they would have got into tech roles. So we will assume that they are in a stage now. They are into the early years of tech roles. What they should do to grow in this stream? You have already spoke about mentorship, but couple of tips apart from that
Sure.
for them
I will
to
do that.
really reach out to that stage.
Yeah. So I'll probably give around just, three or four very brief self-explanatory points because you've been talked enough. I think identifying your strengths and very consciously creating a brand for yourself, right?
Correct.
Because you really think about it, even when you're absent, your brand speaks for you, right? So your
Correct.
brand carries forward even when you are not there. You have to do it consciously. You have to really have a plan. I mean, coming from a marketing background, you know this the best, right? You have to keep hammering those same points that keep reinforcing your brand, right? It's a continuous effort. Second is something that I went through also. At one point in time, if somebody told me that we're looking for a woman for this role, or this is where we want a diverse candidate, I would take it that I am not capable and somebody is giving me a charitable
Correct.
opportunity.
Correct.
It took me some time to figure out that life is not always fair. There are opportunities that you lose out on. This is an opportunity that's come to me, but only because somebody believes that I'm qualified for it and I'm capable of delivering on it. So I think stop perceiving gender mandates as charity. Take advantage of the situation. If you're not capable, you will fail, right? So do not have this fear in your mind or a perceived notion in your mind. Third, I think I brought this out earlier also, not just mentors for your leadership styles, but also for competencies. So pick somebody who's great at marketing, pick somebody who's great at, technology, pick somebody who's great at customer experience so that you have enough, inputs to build your career. Even if you're a programmer, right? Start thinking a few years ahead. What is going to help you get the next role? I think that's important, right? Prepare yourself for it. The fourth one is, I think, again, because of all the conditioning, we build relationships because we genuinely care about people. I think somewhere, even I had that myth, not to leverage relationships or not to make my relationships work for me, because in my mindset, that was using people. It took me some time to realize no, it is not using people because it is a win win symbiotic relationship. Today, Scindia needs me, tomorrow, I need her, so there isn't anything negative about it. So
Correct.
again, definitely build relationships and make your relationships work for you. I think those would be the four simple things I would ask people to, practice in their day-to-day life.
Amazing pointers. I'll also follow that for sure, Snigdha. So one thing you were talking about diversity in workplace and how these roles are coming. That is leading me to your question. I personally believe mother of 4-year-old, over decade plus experience in marketing across various industries, in various culture of organization. I at least personally and strongly believe that if an organization believes in an inclusive and diversified culture, they will have more business success. And currently, I'm witnessing that in the organization I work for. Also, Freshworks is a believer of that, and they are reaping the benefits for the same. But not every workplace is like that. So, what do you think? How workplace is playing an important role in all these things for bringing out leaders, especially in STEM field from women, or generally also? So, any best practices you have come across in your career, which you think other workplace also have to adapt, Snigdha?
Sure. I think you bring in a fabulous perspective, right? Organizations are responsible, and not again just because having a gender ratio is good, but because you obviously get the best out of a very creative, diverse workforce.
Correct.
Let me take the example of PayPal, right? Because this is my current workplace, and I truly believe they've done a fabulous job, right? And I'll, share why. So we have this global gender inclusive program called Unity, right? And then we have the India chapter, and then obviously, at the regional level also we have focus across our four offices. Now, what I found really awesome was there is a very huge contribution from male colleagues. They are not forced into it, they sign up for it. And to me, this is the point that you bring forward. Like, a lot of programs are there in every organization, but when you see male colleagues voluntarily signing up, it actually talks about the culture.
Culture, correct.
What the organization has achieved is a culture where women contributions and impact is being celebrated, is being promoted, is being believed, right? Because that's only when you will find people signing up for a cause. Now, getting down to some of the programs that are going on and how PayPal has been very, very perceptive of what the environment needs, not just the organization. We have recently launched, and I will actually give a lot of credit to, my co-leader Shiv Priya and her team, um, who have come up with this program. We realize that campus recruitment women conversion is low, and when I say low, it's lower than the percentage of women in the colleges. That itself is low. But even if
Mm,
you saw the male to female conversion ratio in the campus recruitment, it was low, much lower for women, right? And unfortunately, there were labels being created. Women are not technical, they're not keeping up to date. But what this team did is they went and tried to analyze all the data of the last few years, spoke to a few women, and realized that all of this conditioning, and of course, the way they were thinking about it, they didn't have a lot of coaches, mentors, they were more inward focused, and hence they were not able to crack the interview stages. So
mm,
we launched a program this year that targets the third year engineering students, female students. And what
mm,
we're doing is between the technical skills and the behavioral leadership styles, or individual styles, we are providing them grooming through an external partner. There are many people from PayPal who have signed to help these third year students to understand the corporate culture and the needs, right? And obviously, it is not that we are going to recruit all of them, but we are actually paying it forward to the community and building more able people, more able women to join into the workforce. And when I say able, it's not competency, but it's just unlearning the conditioning that's been going on. Similarly, we have a brilliant program for women coming back from work called Recharge.
right.
Again, over there, I think the focus is on building the confidence, getting women back to the workforce. It's not important that we are hiring all of them, but you're making it easier for them to go back to any of the companies out there, right, in the STEM field. These are two programs that I would definitely like to call out. The third, which probably a lot of us are already doing, is at every level that we talked about, junior, mid, senior. I think those transition points, or even in those levels, they're very specific requirements. So we have these year-long sponsorship programs where we have senior leaders, coach, mentors sponsor these candidates. But we also have a lot of external workshops, one-on-one, self-paced learning made available to our female associates for them to learn. And usually, anything that's got to be experiential has to be over a longer period of time. So, as an organization, I think we just don't speak about women being important to the workforce, but there are many different, similar interventions that happen to hire more women, engage them, try to understand how is it, what are those apprehensions when they come back from childbirth, right? How do you get them settled in? And then, of course, how can you retain women? It is very inspiring to see all this happen. Also, I think a lot of these industry bodies like NASCOM is definitely having their own program. So I think just as an ecosystem and organization, we've definitely got much better in helping women be active participants in the workforce. Of course, there are a couple of things I think we can do more, but yeah.
Great, great, Snigdha. A couple of these pointers were covered by Jayashree too. But one thing I like this male colleagues coming and joining it. right? I'm sure then the culture speaks it all. So I'm sure this would have helped a lot of us to rethink what has to be
Yeah.
done, because we are also leaders, right? We also have to do the it's not always about the organization from top down. It's always the top down approach. So you are anyway at your level is you're leading a team. That means you have to have your own diversity and inclusivity, programs for yourself. You have to adapt it according to your team, and you have to have your own goals. That is something like each and every leader need to practice, instead of just
Right.
it should not be lip service, rather it should be practiced. So that's a great
Absolutely. One thing
so
though, Cindy, I'm not sure if this is something you also experience. Despite all of these, in most of the firms, I still find quite a few people within the organization, outside the organization, reach out for one-on-one sessions, and they are need-based, situation-based inputs or guidance that they reach out for, right? It could be something at home that's happening that they're not able to cope up with. They just need somebody to speak to. Because most of the times, I also feel that they know the answers. Because when they are talking and asking the question, they are processing it and they know what to do. But they
correct.
just need somebody to speak to. Similarly, I think they have this feeling of, biases at work, or, about managers, at work, giving them the right opportunities. So something that's been going on in my mind, I know there are workplace relationship teams in every organization, but maybe they feel they're very minor or very silly to reach out because those are like, focused on larger org initiatives. I sometimes feel that an easy access to counselors or experts or a larger bandwidth of senior people may help. Have you felt somewhat similar? It's easier for them to reach out to you and talk to you. And sometimes, in their mind, it's a very silly thing, but they're also overwhelmed by it.
Correct. I agree, Snigdha. Actually, many of at least the culture I maintain within my team is it's like a family environment. They'll come and share, like personally, if they're going through something, they need some advice professionally, personally, and I also personally spend a lot of time in developing people, because I believe in nurturers. People are women are boxed out as nurturers, right? Because they say that family and children only will be nurturing. Not like that. I always say I'm good in partner marketing because yeah, I'm a woman, I'm a nurturer, I nurture relationships, I nurture partners, I nurture my team. So I can do better.
Very good
So,
perspective.
we actually will become a great role models as well as coaches as well as counselors. And also there are
Right.
professionals. In fact, in Freshworks, kind of this kind of tough situation all of us are going through. Healthy lifestyle for mom, they are having sessions from experts, how they have to take care of their health, mental health, sessions are there. There are counselors available, for us to professional counselors for us to reach out and seek help. I think gone are those days. These things have been seen as some
Taboo.
mentally ill person, right? It has become like another headache or fever. Like just you're going and seeking a professional help to get.
Correct.
So it's completely all right to open up and speak to people. It's not always necessary that you have to wear a face that you're always good, super happy,
Superwoman.
wrong, perfect. It's okay. Sometimes you can cry, sometimes you can be angry, sometimes you can get frustrated. It's all understandable, and people are people. End of the day, and
Absolutely.
we have to express ourselves so that we don't really get into that depressive state. I don't even wanted to use that word, but unfortunately, it's been most abused and frequently used word nowadays, right? And
Yeah.
very sad to see that, because it's all because I think we are so worried that how are we getting projected outside, and we are so much working on that. And end of the day, we are forgetting that whom we are, and we are not really expressing ourselves. So I'm sure,
Right.
at
No, and
least
you're right. I think these counseling sessions that are being conducted because of COVID and the pandemic, I think it'll be nice if those are extended beyond the pandemic to some of
yes.
these women associates and maybe even the male associates, right? To just give them a platform.
Correct, Snigdha. So, yeah, we spoke a lot about women in tech leadership, generally women in leadership roles. A lot of personal experience you have shared. I'm sure it would have been a great learning experience for everybody. Moving to the next section of the podcast, we talk about videos here. So, Mad over videos is our concept. So, Just in your experience, you being in product roles, how video helped you professionally, either in terms of explainer videos or tech pictures? How do you see videos, Snigdha?
Sure. So I have two, distinct perspectives about videos, right? I think all of us humans are wired to learn more when there is a 3D impact
Correct.
versus, let's say, reading from a book, right? And so I think video is a very, very powerful medium. Also, because I think when I mean, that's of course because of the body language, the emotions that are coming into play, which help bridge that personal connect, right? It is almost real life. And of course, I think, being in the marketing fields, India, even moving aside from product, ads have always been the greatest needle mover on selling products, right? And I think that's been there. Today, with the quality of videos and the accessibility, anybody can, capture a video and socialize it. I think it's become an extremely powerful tool. So yes, I think to change the perception, and there has been several videos that have inspired me. But one area that I have seen people do is I will go back to my previous organization. We were considered to be ADP was considered to be a very media shy, boring, B2B firm, right? And that impacted our brand image, right? We couldn't attract talent. We couldn't really compete with these startups of the world because they had such fancy videos and they made it so easy. People didn't have to spend a lot of time in learning. There were how-to videos, and that is what we did when we tried to change our brand image to address a better revenue, to help people understand us as customer-centric company, and also attract talent because you had competition from the Googles of the world, right? Um, we used video as a very, very powerful mechanism to rebrand ourselves completely and also use them to train users faster than go through these boring facts and how to documents. So I'll be happy to share that.
Superb, Snigdha. So we'll see the video.
Sure.
The job of HR is tougher than ever. Every new day brings a downpour of raw data. If you could reveal potential critical patterns and trends from the data, you'd unlock a deeper understanding of your workforce. Discover ADP Data Cloud, a powerful and intelligent set of data analysis tools that reveal hidden insights within your ADP workforce data. Measure trends and patterns in your workforce. Compare your organization to benchmarks from the broader market to see where you stand. Predict and uncover likely future trends to anticipate rather than react. And then apply insights and take action. So why is ADP Data Cloud the preferred choice for workforce reporting, analytics, and big data? ADP Data Cloud delivers comprehensive workforce analytics that are ready to go, regardless of your experience or expertise. Accurate benchmarks from nearly 30 million employee records so you can compare your organization to the broader market. Simple, intuitive usability, supported by ADP expertise in data. Use ADP Data Cloud to put data to work and help move your company forward. Lead with ADP Data Cloud.
Coming back to the last section of the podcast, Snigdha, couple of light-hearted questions for us because we had an intense discussion, right? So a couple of light-hearted questions. So you are talking a lot about mentors, coaches. So the one women leader, a fellow women leader or a industry women leader whom you look up to?
Okay. So I think that's a tough question when you say one, because I think based on my mood, based on my phases, I keep switching. I would actually just talk about three names, right? I'm not going to talk a lot about them because the pattern is the same. I think the way I look at them is somebody who adopt employees as children, right? So Two people, and in fact, one is a male leader, CTO of PayPal, Sri Shivananda, and a woman VP who leads our risk and fraud platforms, Aarti Makija. They were nowhere in my organization hierarchy. But from the time I joined in, they have been people who have checked in, who have been there when I've needed them, who have continued to keep a regular connect with me to see how I'm doing in my career. And if you look at it, it's a very selfless intent because by giving me that cushion and comfort to speak or share my thoughts or brainstorm, especially as I join new in the organization, wouldn't have benefited them, right? Similarly, at ADP, we had a very senior leader called Jen Ryan who had joined, and she had this large 10,000 member organization when I was leading around a 300 member organization in India, and she was leading a global org. But the interest that she expressed in my well being, she even came home. She insisted I invite her home for lunch. I think these three leaders have inspired me. And the way I look at it is, I felt they were my foster parents or adopted, right? I mean, not that they are very old in age, probably a few years, similar or, senior. But when I say adoption, it is just those, belongingness that they help create around you. I think that's what has been extremely endearing.
Super, super, Snigdha. So, what is the one thing you love about your job?
I just love it when I have been able to challenge one of my team members or colleagues, help them get into uncomfortable zone, discover themselves, discover their potentials and succeed and get the credit for it. I think that makes me feel so thrilled. And the more I do, the more I'm able to do and enable, I think gives me the biggest satisfaction in my job.
Superb, Snigdha. So, you have been in various capacities of role. So, what do you think it is one important quality a leader should possess?
Okay, I think it's very personal to each of us. For me, I think it has been a lot of consciousness at whatever I'm doing, right? So being, actively present and aware of the environment. I think what that has helped is anticipate changes coming before they came in, right? Anticipate team dynamics, trust environments, opportunities. Just because I was so fully into the moment and completely focused. And that has helped, we talked about adaptability, managing change. I think that has helped me, change and adapt over a period of time to different cultures, different styles.
Super. So, last question I really wanted to ask is after all this pandemic thing gets over, so what is your vacation plan, Snigdha?
I
Where will
think
you
it's like vacation.
go? Choice.
Yeah. So my sister is the lively one in the family, and every year she has an annual vacation plan. So I think for 2020 and 2021, she had Australia followed by Scotland for 2021, and domestic she had Rajasthan followed by Hampi. So I think there are four venues that are waiting for us.
So, looking forward, right, all of us. I hope
Absolutely.
we all together weather this storm and come out strongly. Stay safe, viewers. That's what we all look for. The reason for us to bring such strong female leaders to come and talk to you, to all of you, is yes, there will be certain times like this. So, it can be a global pandemic or it can be a personal up and down phases, but we all will stay stronger and weather it and come out even more stronger and better. So this is Scindia Balasingh signing off from all of you before meeting up next week with one another exciting guest. And the same podcast is available in all streaming platforms as well as the podcast platforms too. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you, Snigdha, once again.
Thank you, Scindia.